we're doing reaction videos. We're breaking songs down, what they did cool, what they did that was interesting or different, and how it works from a production standpoint. What we got next?
Next up, we got a submission from the homie Tesko. I think y'all know Tesko.
Who does?
He's that guy right there. But Tesko has shot us one called Rain. Hey, by Papa Khan. We're about to go check that out. Let's go.
Do it for the boy.
But yeah, dude, that was the melodic texture of that was like very forward thinking. It reminded me of like that Porter Robinson remix of The Thrill by Nero. If you guys ever heard that, it's like really fast arps that like go and then stop and then go and then stop. And it's like it creates like a very like energetic melodic content, but that it like has these like stop and go breaks to it that like make you like headbang. So yeah, I really quite liked it. You would call that like melodic rhythm, right? I guess.
Yeah, I guess. People are also calling it color bass. That's like a new sort of genre that's sprung up from it, which is
Please do explain. I've never even heard that before.
Oh, really? Yeah. So there's like Rushdown is a popular label led by the artist Chime. He's one of the first people I saw really start exploring in that style, and it's kind of like melodic dubstep, but I would say it's more so like if future bass and rhythm had a baby, and if rhythm was a bit more tonal. It's sort of the same kind of drums and like more repetitive sort of I guess they're basses, but generally they'll be like vocoded with some chords in the background or some vocal chops, or in this case like Papa Khan and a lot of his stuff likes to distort like a pan flute and blend that in with a lot of his lead layers. And you'll often hear like sort of the same womps that you'd hear in contemporary dubstep and rhythm nowadays, but there's a bit more to it as far as the fullness goes with like melodic elements, and typically it won't just stick to one note and do pitch bends, which is kind of cool. I've also heard a lot of people like blending in this sort of like kawaii aspect to it. And I guess that's
What
sort
do
of
you
how
mean
I
by
define color bass. It's not so much like the older melodic dubstep where you just have like super saws, and then between the super saws you'd have like the occasional growl. This is like much more integrated where they work together as one.
yeah? Does would you say color bass all has that like kind of futuristic texture to it as well? Where I would say like this one, like the sounds had like a lot of edge. Would you say that that's a characteristic of color bass, or is it not necessarily just something Papa Khan does?
Um, I guess it depends on the artist because I feel like earlier it would have been easier to say, but nowadays a lot of people are really exploring the genre and pushing it. But I always felt like it was more tightly coupled with a more like rhythm kind of approach than it was like an old school dubstep sort of approach. Like if you listen to enough of it, there's definitely a distinct difference between like melodic dubstep and color bass. Um, so yeah, I don't know how to answer your question exactly. I think a lot of the fullness that you're referring to like comes from the fact that generally the basses and the chords and whatever like sort of leads melodies that are on top are generally working together as one unit, so you get this like big wall of sound, whereas I feel like with melodic dubstep it was very separate, where you'd maybe like all of the melodic elements would play on top of each other, but they would be very much like checkerboarded with the basses.
Definitely. I want to know, chat. Big up chat. Y'all know color bass? Is this something you guys are familiar with? Do you have any color bass songs that I should be listening to? I'm
Yeah,
unfamiliar.
Nard is big upting Chime here. Chime is the goat when it comes to color bass, and his label Rushdown. That's a good place to start. Ace
Okay.
Aura, another sick producer.
Yeah.
He
One
actually has some cool stuff where he mixes, like he remixed the North Lane track, I believe a Periphery track too. I might be wrong on that, but yeah, dude's like mixing in like metalcore and stuff. Super dope.
nice. One thing I wanted to add was that like so that drop lead rhythm color, whatever we want to call it, was wonderfully chaotic, right? It had a lot of textures, it was moving fast, it was like very much non-quantized, like right on the grid. It had, really interesting, unique timing to it and a lot of chaos. But to balance that out, the drums were very simple. Most of them were right on the downbeat. It was like 1 3 1 3, and then every once in a while, just the kick would just be on the upbeat instead of the downbeat. But it really, as chaotic as the lead got, the drums kept you right in pocket, not ever wondering when to dance and bob your head. And then B, there wasn't anything else competing for that front and center space with that lead that was going on. Like any other layers were coming in as a piece of that main sound, as in context of that main sound evolving, not some other sound, some other melody trying to fight for the same spot. There was one thing for me to pay attention to, and a cohesive rhythm track that kept me bobbing my head right when it needed to be. And
That's a really good point. It definitely didn't, even though it was chaotic, it felt like there was no diversion of focus. It was all like, this sick thing is what I'm listening to, and like I was very sure that that was the item to listen to. It was big and chaotic, but like simple to digest, which is really hard to do.
I think that's sort of like the trade-off, and it just goes to show that you can do complex stuff if, and I don't want to say you compromise in different areas, but like the melody is able to be so chaotic because it doesn't go to a million different places, like da-da-da, 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 da-da-da. It's like two sort of like call and response off time clusters of notes that just like A B A B A B with each other. And I think it's that like predictability that like you make the trade-off with a bit more predictability, but then you could get away with each repetition being a bit more complex. Then your ear gets used to it a bit quicker, you know, and you sort of know what to expect. And I think it just all ties into, you know, what Dylan talks about a lot, which is being able to set up certain expectations for your listener on this audio journey that you're taking them on. And then when they're sort of established with that pattern, being able to throw curveballs into that. If the whole track is a curveball, then it's really hard to grasp onto anything.
Yeah, curveballs are hard to hit. You want hits.
Yeah, exactly.
And while I'm waiting for y'all to type, I just want to out loud answer Sick Chick's question. So is this track using negative space instead of a turnaround? Well, the turnaround is just kind of that whatever happens in that space leading around. So if that is silence and or negative space, like having silence can be a turnaround. It can be a vocal. It can be a drum fill. It can be a riff. It can be like the response to the call of the main melody. You know, there's the turnaround is more like that space letting you know that the loop's about to start over and or that you're coming up to a transition than any one particular type of sound that might be there. I like it. What's up, humans? Yo, thanks so much for watching our reaction video. I'm Luke Rain from the Human Music Podcast. Please hit that subscribe, hit that like, comment. Let us know what videos you want to see us do in the future, or let us know what you thought of our breakdown of this one. And remember, we've got a whole podcast where we break down all sorts of producer and music-related content. So tune in to the channel or check us out at thehumanmusicpodcast.com. All right, peace out, humans, and peace among worlds.